Photo Gibbies here, and I've recently had a lot of questions on my personal Instagram page on how I edit my real estate photos. So I'm going to go ahead and run through and just kind of give you a brief idea of how it works, what my workflow is, and if you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. Make sure you subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications, and with that, we'll get started. So here's a property that I recently photographed on Hilton Head Island. And after that, the first thing I do is I import them all into Lightroom. And once they're all in Lightroom, the very first thing I do is I start at the beginning and I select a preset that I've already set up for real estate and I apply it. And then I apply it to all the photos across the board here. And basically what that preset is, if I go through and show you what the settings are, I bump the contrast up just a little bit of clarity, and we bring the highlights down all the way and the shadows all the way up. And then the lens correction, it selects the lens that I was using, which in this case it was a Sigma 12mm wide angle. I go ahead and check that, enable profile corrections, which removes any vignetting or any other errors that the lens may, or distortions that the lens may produce on the image. Once I do that, I'll go through each individual image. I'll rate it, and if I do rate it, I'll go ahead and do minor corrections like white balance or straighten any walls or minor exposure corrections or saturation, any changes to saturation I want to apply to it. So once I do that, I go ahead and select just the rated images that I've selected and done minor edits to, and I export all those as JPEGs into a file. And once they get there, I'll go ahead and open them up in Photoshop for some final edits and finishing touches. So once I get them opened up in Photoshop, let me talk a little bit briefly about each image. This particular one is a ambient only shot where there's no flash applied. This next one, I actually use the flash here. We use a 400-watt strobe flash that we bounce off the ceiling, and that's what you have here. It's pretty good, but we still like a little bit of the ambient, I guess. Kind of a mixture of ambient and flash is preferred. And then, of course, this last one, where'd it go? I'm going to close these, and I'm going to go back into that folder I showed you initially. It's not what I wanted. So, okay, here we go. So I'm going to open these ones back up in Photoshop. Okay, so the one that was missing I wanted to talk about is this one right here. It's where we blow out the windows with the strobe and just point it basically directly towards the windows, and this will help us achieve our window pull. So once they're open up, we'll go ahead and select this, Control-C to copy that. Go over here and paste it on the ambient layer. And then I'll come over here to the flashed one. Select all that, Control-C. Control-V for paste. And that window pull layer that I showed you right here, I'm going to move that to the top. And I have to tell you, this is not a method that I invented. It's a method that I learned from other people. And I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. It's just the way we do it. If you have any suggestions on a better way to do it, feel free to comment. But I just want to let you know how I do it. So we've got this window pull blown out layer on the top. I'm going to go ahead and deselect it. And then I've got these two layers here, which is our flash exposure and our ambient exposure. In this particular one, what I'm going to do is just bring down the opacity of this layer a little bit to kind of bring out some more of the ambient qualities here. You can see if you go all the way to 0, you can see it's the full ambient. So I'll bring it up to a point where I think it looks good. In this case, it looks good around 53%. So once I'm happy with that, I'll go ahead and select this layer again, make it visible. And then we're going to go ahead and align these layers. So Shift Select to select all those. And to do that, you go into Edit, Auto Align Layers. And I actually set up a shortcut for this in Preferences, which is Shift Control M. And so it'll bring this up, and auto selection seems to work well. So we're going to select that. So if your layers weren't completely lined up, you're going to see some discrepancies along the edges. And if that's the case, you can go ahead and just crop it in a little bit to get rid of those. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and select this top layer here. And the blend mode we're going to select here is darken. And then we're going to create a layer mask. And it's going to be an inverse layer mask. And how you do that is you press the Alt key while hitting the layer mask, and it will bring it up as an inverse. We'll go ahead and select the brush tool with white as our selected color. Once you do that, you can just paint over these windows and it will bring out those details. It's that simple. So once I'm done with the window pull, I'll go ahead and select all those layers again. Right click and then merge layers. And my camera's due for sensor cleaning, so I'm going to have to go through and clean all the dust spots that appear on my sensor, like right there. I think that's the only visible one. And once that's done, we'll go ahead and duplicate these layers. Select the bottom layer, and here's a little something we learned that works well. We use a plugin called Topaz Adjust, and I'll go ahead and open up that and show you what that is. So once Topaz Adjust opens, there are tons and tons of different filters you can use to apply to your photos. But the one we use almost exclusively for all our real estate is under the Classic Collection presets. We picked the Photo Pop one. Once that's selected, we can go ahead and hit OK. So that's what it looks like once it's applied to the entire image. The problem with applying it to the entire image is it makes the ceilings look a little dirty and the walls look a little grungy. So we don't want to do it to the entire image. So what we'll do is apply a layer mask here. Select our brush tool. And the things we do like to apply the Photo Pop to is windows. We'll go ahead and do that. Furniture. Wood floors for sure. Doesn't work so well on carpets because it makes carpets look dirty. Yeah. Ceilings. Apply it to furniture. There. Except I don't particularly like how it made the yellow chairs look a little dingy, so I'm going to hit X, which is going to change that to white, and I'm going to remove it from these yellow chairs. There. I think I'm pretty happy with that. And that's pretty much the workflow we use for real estate editing. If you have any questions, by all means, comment below. And if you have any requests for any other tutorials, let me know and I'd be happy to put those up as well. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again soon.